right, shalom, shalom. Welcome to another live lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, Bashem Rakak Kodash. Starting off, giving all praise, glory, and honor be to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakak Kodash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, better known as GMS, who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect, beginning with the Tabernacle of David, which consists of the 144,000 and the rest of the men, women, and children out of the 12 tribes, whom Yahweh Bashem Shai will have mercy upon. This is your brother Matazaba. And before I get started in this lesson, I want to say Salakia for the background noise. I have the fan going on. It is very hot this evening. And I also want to say Shabbat Shalom, all right, to the Akim and sincere Akwath, listening and learning wherever you may be across the four corners of the earth. Now, the title of this lesson is going to be, obviously, it's going to be ICBMs to make the earth rock back and forth. Response to comment made. And this comes via way of a video that I did a few days ago entitled 3 Days of Darkness, False Roman Catholic Doctrine. All right. Now, on my main, because this is on, the comment was left on my actual backup page, which is elective 144 ba. Subscribe so that you may be edified. Now, since I've done this, let's see here, because evidently this particular video of mine has gone viral on my main page. And let me see here. Let me just share this tab. So I've done this lesson a few days ago now. And as you can see here, all right, it's been, catching up a lot of views, or picking up a lot of views, I should say. All right, which is not about the views, but since it's actually gone viral, it's got over 1.7K views. There's been a lot of people, all right, in their feelings and butthurt, all right? And that's what this truth does. It's going to, cause a discerner of thoughts, all right? And, we can start off with that precept. Let's get this here real quick. Let's get the book of Hebrews chapter 4 and verse 12 to start off the lesson, all right, which says, "For the word of the Most High is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit, and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and the intents of the heart." All right. So this word from Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, the Holy Scriptures, all right, is also likened unto a sword, man. Okay. It's likened unto a sword, all right. And even when Yahweh Shai came on the scene, let's get that in Luke, the 2nd chapter. What did Simeon say? All right, Simeon. All right, this is Luke 2:34. The point is at 35. It says, "And Simeon blessed them and said unto Mary, his mother, Behold, this child, who is Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus, is set for the fall and rising again of many in Israel, and for a sign which shall be spoken against, yea, a sword shall pierce through thine own soul also, that the thoughts of many hearts may be revealed." You see? So this links up right with Hebrews 4. Let's see if they put it in. Let's see. Okay, Blue Letter doesn't put it in, but this sword, okay, which is a spiritual sword, where it talks about shall pierce through thy own soul also, that the thoughts of many hearts may be revealed. That's what this word is likened unto. It's representing the word, okay? Because when you hear the truth, going back to Hebrews 4 and 12, it's going to cause you to discern, okay? You either going to get with it or you're not going to get with it, okay? I'll read it one more time. Hebrews 4 and 12, "For the word of the Most High is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even the dividing asunder of the soul and spirit, and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and the intents of the heart." Heart meaning your mind. And this is why the scriptures tells us, no matter how many times we do lessons, okay, no matter, How many times we bring out edification? We are not to hold back thy sword, man. Okay. Jeremiah 48:10. Cursed be he that doeth the work of Yahweh deceitfully, and cursed be he that keepeth back his sword from blood. So if you are a brother out there that's keeping back the whole truth, all right, or you're, I should say, Salaki, slip of the tongue, not so much keeping back the whole truth, but if you are a brother in this ministry and you are, bringing it out, but you're slightly holding back, then you're doing the work of Yahweh Shem Shah deceitfully, man. Okay. The scripture says we are to put on the whole armor of the Most High. Okay. That armor represents this truth. All right. This wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. So you're not supposed to, hold back on anything, man. And this is the reason why, going back to this comment here, all right, which I'm about to read, this person obviously decided that he needed to comment that bad because obviously he didn't agree with what I stated in this video. Now, this comment was made by this person's YouTube handle is Laramie Patterson 6469. All right, as you can see, he posted it a day ago. And he stated, why would you say, obviously, it's going to be ICBMs, which stands for intercontinental ballistic missiles, to make the earth rock back and forth? Sure, it's possible, but many other things can cause that. In fact, it's been proven that the earth has had pole shifts and that is, and that it has rolled over and changed equatorial orientation. There is well fossils on the top of the Rocky Mountains. And how do you think that they got there? No tsunami can possibly get that high. Furthermore, no nuke would cause such an earthquake. Sounds like you are leaning on your own understanding. And the funny thing about this is when you've been in this truth for a while and you deal with individuals like this, it doesn't come, it's not surprising, to say the least, on why they will make statements like that, because when they don't have anything to back up, which he's just going based off Esau's findings, not understanding that, all right, this devil is the forger of lies, the physician of no value, as the scripture says in Job, the 13th chapter. So what this individual is doing is he's just regurgitating what he's either allegedly read up on or what he's, seen through whatever documentary channel or what somebody told him. And majority, that's what the, majority of the people of the world do. That's why the scripture says that the wisdom of this world is foolishness with the Most High. Right? So he says, to me, sounds like you are leaning on your own understanding. A massive asteroid or meteor could cause that to happen. All right. And that's nowhere in the scriptures. So he goes on to say the Indian Gulf, the Gulf of Mexico, Yellowstone are all proof that exactly that has happened before. And even though it says unnatural darkness, it doesn't mean made by man. Look up the Greek in that concordance and you will see what that word means, which don't know where he's talking about because we've already went into the Greek word for that in Revelation, the 16th chapter, and Matthew, the 22nd chapter, which I already did explaining it in this video, right? He says, it'll shock you. Everything in that description fits an asteroid amongst other possibilities. The problem is, this was my response. The problem with your assertion is that the Bible says otherwise. It doesn't say via an asteroid. Okay, because let's get a precept. Let's come back over here. All right. Isaiah 8:20, which we shall all know, which says to the law and to the testimony. What is the testimony? The spirit of prophecy. We'll grab that after this. It says, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. So we know based off the prophecies that there is nothing in the prophecy that gives us the indication that is going to be an asteroid that's going to strike the planet. Because if you are leaning on that, You, my friend, are leaning into your own understanding, and therefore you err not knowing the scriptures. Let's get Revelation chapter 19 and verse 10, dealing with the testimony. What is the testimony? Right? Revelation 19 and 10, and I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahushua. Worship the Most High, for the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. Okay? Now, dealing with this, the spirit of prophecy, which is also known as the spirit of truth. Let's grab that in John, the 14th chapter. Okay? The role of the spirit, John 14 and 16, and I will pray the Father, and he shall give you another comforter, that he may abide with you forever, even the spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive. That includes you, my friend, because it seeth him not, neither knoweth him, but ye know him, for he dwelleth with you and shall be in you. So our job as the servants, the prophets, all right, who have been given that comforter, the spirit of truth, knowing all things, we have a job to come out here and to preach. John 14 and 26, but the comforter, which is the Holy Spirit, the Rakakwadash, whom the Father will send in my name, he shall teach you all things and bring all things to your remembrance, whatsoever I have said unto you. Now, with that being said, also let's grab Amos 3 and 7, because the secrets belongings to the servants, the prophets. Everybody's not going to understand the prophecies. Amos 3 and 7, surely the Lord Yahweh will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets. Only the prophets, all right, by means of the Rakakwadash, can break down these scriptures. Now, let's go from there, because Israel, all right, is going to get the understanding. All right, Deuteronomy 29 and 29, it says, the secret things belong unto Yahweh our power, but those things which are revealed belong unto us, the Israelites, and to our children forever, that we may do all the words of this law. You see? And the prophets come out of one nation of people, and that's the Israelites. Okay? So when I say to you, coming back over here, that the Bible doesn't say anything via asteroid, even if you go into certain Greek words, which I've already done prior to making the comment to you, because I've already addressed it in this video, dealing with the false doctrine, 3 days of darkness. So I go on to lay some precepts. So I brought out Isaiah 24 and 20, which we're going to go into. I brought out 2nd Esdras 16. I asked him, what does the arrow symbolize? Because evidently you cannot shoot a literal Boeing arrow from one side of the earth and expect it to land on the other side. This is a metaphor for a missile. And I proved that. Next precept, Isaiah 13, which Lord's will, we'll bring that out in this lesson. And I asked, what are his weapons of indignation? Job 20, 24, dealing with the iron weapon, which we know that to be referencing an intercontinental ballistic missile in our time. So I said at the end of the comment, it's not no damn matter of, oh, it could be many of things to cause the earthquake. Now, who's the one leaning into their own understanding? The scriptures clearly is alluding to these missiles when they hit, it will cause a massive devastation on the earth, so much so that it will cause certain parts of the earth to move, and amongst many other of other things. And then I dropped them by saying, Bible says, speak according to what the word says, Isaiah 8 and 20, not according to what you think it will cause. And, you know, somebody like this, I don't expect for him to know anything, man. All right. You know, he doesn't understand what he's talking about. He's not in the truth. You know, he's not in the truth, man. All right. So let's get into this now. To kick it off, let's come back over here. Let's go to Isaiah, the 24th chapter. All right, because that's where this whole him coming on a video on a comment board and dropping his comment. So let's go through it real quick. It says here, let's start around verse 18 on down. It says, and it shall come to pass that he who fleeth from the noise of the fear shall fall into the pit. And he that cometh up out of the midst of the pit shall be taken in the snare, for the windows from on high are open, and the foundations of the earth do shake. Now, this is speaking of, when it talks about the noise of the fear, that's speaking of the ICBM missiles. And how do we know that? Well, let's get 2 Peter real quick. Chapter 3, verse 10, it says, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, right? And the elements shall melt with fervent heat. And the earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Let's look at this word, great noise, in the Greek.
Strong's G 4500. Chroidzedon.
And it simply just means with a loud noise, Strong's definition, okay, a whir, winzling, i.e. with a crash, great noise. Now, in the Thayer Greek's lexicon, it says to make a confused noise. Now, what's ultimately going to cause a great noise when those missiles hit? Because you got to think, once they hit their target, buildings are going to collapse, glass is going to shatter, all right? All types of noise from that blast of radiation. Because it goes on to tell you, after it says, the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. You see? And it says, the earth also and the works that are therein shall be burnt up, showing you that this last and final war is going to be dealt with through thermonuclear destruction from World War III. Now, let's go from there to Isaiah, the 9th chapter, to prove that. Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 5, which says, for every battle of the warrior is with confused noise. Now, this is speaking of back then, before technology came to be about what it is today in 2024. If you go way back, all right, to the ancient world, every battle was with men coming together on their chariots, horses, screaming, yelling, using their swords, all right, bow and arrows to fight, right? That all ties into a confused noise. And it goes on to say, and garments robed in blood, right? So the shed of many blood amongst men on the field. But as it continues to say, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. So this final battle, okay, the third woe, as the scriptures calls it, is going to be with burning and fuel of fire. So think of the technology that we have today that causes fire. It's none other than those missiles, man. You see? It's those missiles. Now, let's come back over here to Isaiah. All right, 24, we read 18. So now you understand. Let's read it again. And it shall come to pass that he who fleeth from the noise of the fear shall fall into the pit. Now, who's going to flee from these things when it comes to pass? Mainly the top elites. They're going to go into those bunkers. Let's go over here to Isaiah, the 2nd chapter. All right. Verse 19, it says, and they shall go into the holes of the rocks and into the caves of the earth for the fear of Yahweh and for the glory of his majesty when he ariseth to shake terribly the earth. You see that? This is why it tells you the precept to this is in Revelation, okay, the 6th chapter. Right? The 6th seal, terror. Revelation 6 and 12, and I beheld when he had opened the 6th seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake. A great earthquake. Oh, but it could be caused by a meteorite. No, let's read to see what's going to cause it. And the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, which represents missiles, because stars literally don't fall. This is metaphorically speaking, this is symbolic. It says, even as a fig tree casted her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. Right? Now, notice it says mighty wind here. Babylon is going to be destroyed by a destroying wind. Let's prove that. And we'll come back to Revelation 6. Let's go from there to Jeremiah 51st chapter. Okay, Jeremiah 51:1. Thus said Yahweh, behold, I will raise up against Babylon. And this wasn't talking about ancient Babylon. This is talking about Babylon the Great, which is America. And against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me, a destroying wind. The same thing as that mighty wind. Same mighty wind that's mentioned in Revelation the 6th chapter, because when you go to Revelation the 7th chapter, the Alahayim, the angels are holding back the wind, which is the missiles, the destruction. Revelation 7:1. And after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And this holding the 4 winds represents the destruction. The destruction from what? World War III, which ultimately is going to end in thermonuclear destruction. So you see, these are metaphors spoken by John the Revelator, Isaiah, and many other prophets. Even Habakkuk saw the vision. Even Esdras saw the vision of the destruction. Okay. So when we deal with that, let's go back to Isaiah. Salakia, let's go back to Revelation, the 6th chapter. All right. And we left off verse 13, which let's read it again. And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casted her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. The only difference is the mighty wind, or the destroying wind, is going to come from that thermonuclear destruction, from those missiles. Verse 14, and the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, which represents an image of a missile falling and that mushroom cloud that it makes, right? They showed you that when they dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima, Japan. It says, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places, which ultimately goes into these top governments and smaller governments. All right, they're going to be moved out of their rulership. That's what that means. It says, and the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every freeman hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, which represents what? Bunkers. Why are they going to need bunkers? Because of that destruction. It says, and it said to the mountains and the rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? Right? Now let's go back to Isaiah 24. See, you got to put the precepts together, my man. Isaiah 24. So let's read 18 again. And it shall come to pass that he who fleeth from the noise of the fear shall fall into the pit. This represents really Esau, Edom, because how's he going to flee? They're going to go into those bunkers, beginning with the top banking elites. And we read it in Isaiah, the 2nd chapter, verse 19, also in Revelation, the 6th chapter. And I believe you can also read it in Amos, the 9th chapter. It says, and he that cometh up out of the midst of the pit shall be taken in the snare. For the windows from on high are open, and the foundation of the earth do shake. The earth is utterly broken down. The earth is clean, dissolved. The earth is moved exceedingly. And how was it moved? Via way of what's coming on that ultimate plague, which is going to be the destruction. Now, the earth is not going to, be done away with forever, because when you get Ecclesiastes, the 1st chapter, all right, the 4th verse, it says, one generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever. Okay, because the earth was created for our sakes, man. All right. And you can get that in Second Ezra, the 6th chapter. But nevertheless, let's come back here. All right. Isaiah 24. And here's the point, verse 20. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. What's going to cause the earth to reel to and fro like a drunkard? Ultimately, it's going to be the missiles. And we're going to show you and prove that. It's not going to be no damn meteorite, or as he stated in his comment earlier. All right. Let's come back over here. Salaki, we just. So, let's see. As he stated in his comment, all right, he said that a massive asteroid or meteor could cause that to happen, showing you that he doesn't understand the scriptures. So let's go. We read that in Isaiah 24 and 20, right? The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard. Now, I wonder what Blue Letter has. Let's see, before I get the precept, let's see what they got here. Let's see. I just want to see because I never actually looked this up, but let's see what they have here. Okay, no, they really don't. Let me see. Do they? Revelation 18:21 is a good precept, but okay, they don't have it. So let's go over here to Second Esdras in the Apocrypha, chapter 16. All right, and we're going to show you what's going to quake the earth to force it to, or I should say, to make it reel to and fro like a drunkard. Right. So this is Second Esdras chapter 16, verse 12, which says, "The earth quaketh, and the foundations thereof, the sea ariseth up with waves from the deep, and the waves of it are troubled, and the fishes thereof also, before the Lord and before the glory of his power. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow," which represents the silos, "and his arrows," which represents those ICBM missiles, "that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss, when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world." Now, use your brain for a minute. You cannot take a literal bow and arrow and shoot it from, let's say, from Russia, okay, all the way over to the other side of the world, let's say New York City. Okay, let's say that arrow shot from Russia, and it passes over towards the Levant region, towards Europe, all the way across the Atlantic Ocean to go all the way over to New York City. It's not going to happen, man. So this is speaking of symbolically, this is talking about ICBM missiles. That's how the earth is going to quake, because the Lord's spirit is going to be in those missiles. It says, "Behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth." Okay. And we want to get into those plagues, Lord's willing. All right. It says, "The fire is kindled, it shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth. Like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returneth not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon earth shall not return again." Right? Now, when you deal with this, let's go into those plagues, because let's get Revelation the 15th chapter. Because you had the 7 angels with the 7 plagues. Right? Revelation 16, Salakia. Okay. Well, hold on. Let's go back to Revelation the 15th chapter so you can get the context, right? Which is a very short chapter, but okay. Revelation 15:1, "And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, for in them is filled up the wrath of the Most High." Right? Now, it says here in verse 2, "And I saw as it were a sea of glass," which represents the firmament, "mingled with fire. And them that had gotten the victory over the beast," which represents NATO and the EU, "and over his image," okay, which goes into the ancient Roman Empire in terms of their laws, their philosophies, their architects, and everything. All right, which has been revived through Babylon the Great, which is America. It says that over his mark, the charagma, all right, which we know that to be the RFID micro C hip, and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass having the harps of the Most High. This represents the elect that's going to be inside those chariots looking down at the destruction, but they're going to be above the firmament. Okay. Now, when you go to Revelation, the 16th chapter, it goes a little bit further into it. It says in Revelation 16:1, and I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the seven angels, go your ways and pour out the vials of wrath upon the Most High, or of the Most High upon the earth. Salakia for that. So the first one, his wrath, he gave a noisome and grievous sore upon the man that took the micro C hip. All right. And when you go into this, it represents a cancerous, like a cancerous pus or a boil, okay, or ulcer, right? The second one poured out his vial into the sea, and it became as blood of a dead man, and every living soul died in the sea, which ultimately, when you get Revelation, the 8th chapter, which let's go there, all right, it represents the third part of man, which represents Esau, Edom. Revelation 8:8, and the second angel sounded it, and as it were a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea became blood. Okay. And the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died, and the third part of the ships were destroyed. The third part of the creatures represents the wicked Esau, Edom, because the Bible gives you three classifications of men. You have the sons of God, which is one. You have the sons of men, which is the other heathen nations. And then you have the sons of the wicked, which are the Edomites, beginning with the top banking elite family, the so-called white man today. Okay. And it says, and the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp. And it fell upon the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of waters. This is talking about the, once again, the third part of man, because when you get Revelation, all right, chapter 17, verse 15, and he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest were, where the horse sitteth, which is America, Babylon the Great, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. So those rivers of waters is really talking about men. And which men? The Edomites, third part, right? So where we left off there, verse 10, verse 11, Revelation 8:11, and the name of the star is called wormwood, and the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. What's going to make the waters bitter? The radiation from those missiles. Let's look up the word wormwood in the Greek.
Strong's G 894. Obscentheon. Obscentheon.
Okay. Wormwood, the name of a star which fell into the waters and made them bitter. Wormwood as a type of bitterness. All right. Figuratively, calamity. Salakia, right? So there it is, man. Now, let's take this word. Let's look it up in the etymology. Let's get this over here. Let's pull this over here. So this says also absent, though properly, that means wormwood, bitter, pale green alcoholic liquor distilled from wine. That's not it. Let's see here. Yeah, basically it just means bitter, man. So the waters became bitter. It's metaphorically speaking of it becoming the radiation that's going to hit the water, man. All right, one is going to be polluted. All right, and two, all right, coming back over here. All right, is going to be contaminated. That's the word I'm looking for. It's going to be contaminated. The waters are going to be contaminated. That's what makes them bitter. And what's going to contaminate that water? The actual radiation from the missiles. Now, let's come back and let's go over here to another precept in Job dealing with the Edomites. And it says here, I'm going to start at verse 20. You know what? Yeah, verse 20. Verse 19. It says, because he hath oppressed and hath forsaken the poor, because he hath violently taken away an house which he buildeth not. All right. And it reminds you of everywhere these Edomites have went and conquered. All right. They've taken over lands, called it after their names. All right. Especially when you deal with America, because the Northern Kingdom were already there in the Western Hemisphere, man, before Esau Edom got over there. But anyway, nevertheless, verse 20 says, surely he, Esau Edom, shall not feel quietness in his belly, and he shall not save of that which he desired. And there shall none of his meat be left. Therefore shall no man look for his goods. And in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. And every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. All right. Now, when you go into that word wicked, all right, it's speaking of
Strong's H 6001. A male. A male.
All right. Speaking of a laborer. Okay. A workman. All right. So Strong's definition says a laborer, figuratively sorrowful, that laboreth that is in misery, had taken labor, wicked or workman. All right. So those people, all right, their hands are going to be upon him, man. It says, and when he is about to fill his belly, speaking of when he is about to establish his new world order, his global reset here on the planet Earth, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. And he is going to do what? He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. What do we read in Isaiah the 24th chapter, right around the 18th verse, about fleeth from the noise? Because where are they going to go? They're going to go into those bunkers, which is speaking of a missile that's going to strike. It's not speaking of a meteorite. What is that iron weapon today in 2024? Obviously, is referencing a ICBM missile. When the prophets wrote the scriptures 2,500 plus years ago, they can only relate them to what they saw based off their language, the way they spoke, all right, the things that they had back then. We, the servants, the prophets, beginning with the apostles, the head bishops, the head elders, mainly of Great Millstone, and the rest of the brothers who speaking in likewise sound doctrine, okay, we know these things through the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua on what they mean in our time today. That's why the scripture says ye need have one to teach you again, Hebrews 5:12. So it says, verse 25, it is drawn and cometh out of the body, yea, the glittering sword cometh out of his gall, and terrors are upon him. Right? So what's that glittering sword? Let's come over here to Isaiah, the 34th chapter. And I'm going to start at the top. It says, come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people, and let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of Yahweh is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter. And their slain also should be cast out, and their stank shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. What's going to melt their blood? You take a guess, man. The missiles. It says, and all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down, as the leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. Right? We read this in Revelation, the 6th chapter. For my sword, there's the sword, shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, which is the Greek way of saying Edom, and upon the people of my curse to judgment. Okay, going back to Malachi chapter 1 and verse 4. Okay, Esau is known as the border of wickedness, and the people whom the Lord hath indignation forever. Malachi chapter 1 and verse 4. Let me see if they put that precept up in here. Yep, there it is right there. Upon Idumea. Malachi 1 and 4. Let's read it, man. Malachi 1 and 4. Whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places, which they did. Thus said Yahweh of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom Yahweh hath indignation forever. So there's the precept, right? Now, verse 6, the sword of Yahweh is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of the rams. For Yahweh hath a sacrifice in Basra. And what would be modern day Basra today? Mainly America, but also wherever the Israelites, Salakia, wherever the Edomites dwell upon the earth, in a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. Okay, ultimately America, Babylon the Great. So that sword, the modern day sword today, will be those missiles, which is Yahweh Bashim Yahushai's instruments, okay, of his weapons of indignation. Let's get another precept. Psalms chapter 7. I'm going to start at verse 11. It says, the Most High judgeth the righteous, and the Most High is angry with the wicked every day. If he turn not, he will whet his sword. He hath bent his bow and made it ready. Okay. So the silos are already, they're ready. They are aimed. Going back to 2nd Esdras, the 16th chapter, they are ready to go. And he hath also prepared for him the instruments of death. He ordained his arrows against the persecutors. And what's the arrows today? The missiles, not no goddamn meteorite, man. Okay. This ain't the movie Meteor Man. You think it's going to get his superhero and then he going to come and he going to get powers. No, dude. All right. You don't know what the scriptures is talking about, man. Right. Let's get another one. Isaiah, because what's his instrument? Remember, he said instruments of death. Okay. Now, who did he give the power to create this instrument of death? This is Isaiah chapter 54 and verse 16. It says, behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work, and I have created the waster to destroy. So essentially, it was Yahweh Bashim Yahushai that gave Esau Edom, okay, scientists to develop those weapons of war that we have now, okay, dealing with missiles and stuff. Now, ultimately, when you really go into this through the spirit, we can link this with, okay, Oppenheimer, Salakia, who made a infamous quote back in his day, which the title of this article, which is from wired.co.uk, it says, now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. The story of Oppenheimer's infamous quote. And what is it a picture of? None other than that mushroom cloud that departed like a scroll up into the heavens, as the scriptures calls it, man. It says here, a photograph on display at the Bradbury Science Museum shows the first thermonuclear test on October 31st, 1952, man. Okay. And you can, and I ain't got to really go into this, but that's the man right there, Oppenheimer. And I believe last year they came out with a movie, okay, about how he, put it all together, that atomic bomb. But the point of the matter is, as he says here in the title, now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. All right. And what did the scriptures say? Isaiah 54 and 16. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work, and I have created the waster to destroy. So Yahweh Bashim Yahushai put it into, all right, this man's mind to be able to create, all right, this bomb. Now the scriptures does say also, okay, that a man's goings is of the Lord. How then can a man understand his own way? Proverbs 20 and 24, it says, man's goings are of Yahweh. How can a man then understand his own way? Also, let's get Jeremiah 10 and 23. It says, oh Yahweh, I know that the way of man is not in himself. It is not in man that walketh to direct his steps. So there's no such thing as free will. And the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua was upon this man to get a group of scientists together to put this this weapon together, man. Because it is the same weapon that has been, upgraded, upscale, whatever you want to say, into being nuclear weapons instead of atomic. But now, you have atomic bombs, but now you have ICBM missiles, nuclear, bombs, whatever you want to say. All right. It has gotten greater in terms of technology where we stand today in 2024. That's why the scriptures talk about, all right, let's come back over here. Let's get Joel real quick, the 3rd chapter, and we'll get ready to close out. But the scriptures talk about, let me see here. Joel 3:9, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears, and let the weak say, I am strong. Because ultimately, a lot of these nations within the last 10 or 15 years, all right, they haven't the money and stuff that they could have invested into their agriculture. They ended up putting it into military arms. Okay. And this is why you have the likes of even nations such as North Korea that's showing that they're strong when they used to be a little nation. Now they coming off as being a big nation because they now possess nuclear capabilities, man. So we're in that time now where, the prophecies are about to come to pass, dealing with World War III or Armageddon, which simply just means Armageddon, which just means the mountain of troops. All right. So let's get another precept, Isaiah chapter 13. Let me see. Yeah, we can. Isaiah chapter 13, verse 9. It says, behold, the day of Yahweh cometh, cruel both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give her light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. It says, and I will punish the world for their evil and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. Now, you drop down, verse 13, it says, therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of Yahweh of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. You see, it says, and it shall be as the chased roe, which represents Esau, Edom, and as a sheep that no man taketh up, they shall every man turn to his own people and flee everyone to his own land. Why? Because of the destruction that's coming to America. It says, everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. What is that modern day sword? It's going to be those missiles, man. And ultimately, before those missiles hit, we're going to be in Jacob's trouble, because there's going to be a famine, pestilences, which the ultimate pestilence is of that nuclear destruction. Okay. Let's go here. Babylon will fall to Medes, which is ultimately, this is represented of America will fall to the Medes. Who's the modern day Medes today? Russia. Look it up on a map, because when you look up the ancient mapping of where the Medes dwelt, okay, the Russians, which are also Edomites, they have taken over that land. Verse 17, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. And their bows, silos with the missiles inside of it, also shall dash the young man to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb, and their eyes shall not spare children. So ultimately what it's saying here is once those missiles are shot off, okay, they're not going to hold back, because you have many women that are pregnant within the land. You have children, whatever. No, whoever is there that's meant to be destroyed, they're going to be destroyed by these missiles when they hit. Okay, it's not, and ultimately it's going to be the Lord's doing, man. All right. Now, to go a step further, let's go to Zechariah, because this is the plague. We'll end it on here and then we'll close out with a video. But let's get Zechariah the 14th chapter real quick. All right, right around verse 12, because this is the ultimate plague. It says, and this shall be the plague wherewith Yahweh will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. Now, what does this represent? This is speaking of thermonuclear destruction. This is an end time prophecy. Now, I have a video lined up here, which let's go to it, from Hal Lindsey, The Late Great Planet Earth in 1979. So let's take a listen, all right, in fair use, all right, fair use for YouTube, fair use, right?
I'm speaking to you today from the last battlefield on planet Earth. It's out here that the last stages of history as we know it will be decided. We're told not only in the Bible what will happen here, but when. The exact sequence of events that will occur here are given in prophecy. The prophet Zechariah tells us that the soldiers who fight here will have a most unusual way of dying. First of all, the flesh will be consumed off of their bones, the eyes consumed out of their sockets, and the tongue consumed out of their mouth. But the strange thing is, he says that this will all occur before they can fall to the ground. There's nothing like that except nuclear war.
Did you hear that? Even they understood it, and this was back in 1979. Because you have to try to align with what is speaking of in our time. And he said it, there is nothing like that other than, or in other words, roughly paraphrasing, there's no other thing that can cause that to happen other than a nuclear war. A nuclear war. And if you, and this is a very great documentary, I urge you, brethren and sisters, few of you sisters, all right, go and look this up, The Late Great Planet Earth, 1979. Watch the whole entire thing, man, because it's great. So going back to this individual's comment, all right, a massive asteroid or meteor could cause that to happen. Ain't no damn asteroid or no meteor is going to cause that to happen, man. That's nowhere in the scriptures. All the precepts we went over in this lesson all points back to none other than ICBM missiles. So that's pretty much all I wanted to get into in response to this individual. Once again, you are not knowing the scriptures. All right. You need to leave the scriptures to the servants, the prophets, whom Yahweh Bashim Yahushua have set up. All right. So I'm your brother Matazabat. And with that, all praise, glory, and honor be to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, Bahashim Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, better known as GMS, who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect, the tabernacle of David. I'm your brother Matazabat, and Lord's will, this was an edifying lesson. And so until the next, Lord's will. Shalom.